The French Minister of Budget and Labor has proposed a ban on private cryptocurrencies. Could this lead to a wider crackdown on privacy-centered cryptos? Well, the Finance Committee of France's National Assembly recently put together a report on cryptocurrencies. In the introductory portion of that report, the Minister of Budget and Labor, Eric Wirth, claimed that it would be appropriate to propose a ban on activity related to cryptocurrencies built with the goal of providing greater levels of anonymity to users. He specifically named Monero, PIVX, Deep Onion, and Zcash as examples, but of course it was leveled at all privacy coins in general. However, the extent to which this might be implemented is unclear from his statements. And of course, what are the cited reasons for wanting to ban privacy-centered cryptocurrencies anyway? You guys already know the answers, but I'm going to say it anyway. Tax evasion, money laundering, and fraud. It's so funny how we've had regulations on banks for all these years, and yet we have not managed to stop money laundering, tax evasion, and fraud with banking. But he did forget to say terrorism and all of that, so I guess there's that. But they did point out in the report that cash still reigns supreme for criminals. They're just thinking that this privacy technology, maybe bad things will happen by bad people. Look, France isn't the first one to be dipping their toes into the regulatory scene around privacy-focused cryptocurrencies. Japan's Financial Services Authority has also come out against privacy-focused cryptocurrencies for basically the same reasons that the French are now citing. And Japanese exchanges like COINBASE have even prohibited the trading of cryptos like Monero, Zcash, and Dash. India was even playing around with the idea of banning privacy-focused cryptocurrencies for the exact same reasons. Now, what will this actually mean in implementation? What will this actually mean for privacy-focused cryptocurrencies? Well, assuming that it does not become an EU-wide law, because that could happen. They are calling for an international regulatory framework, but let's just assume for a moment it's only France. That would essentially mean that you might see a situation in which any exchanges operating in Europe, whether that be Bitpanda or a whole host of other ones, they might have to potentially prohibit their customers from being able to buy cryptocurrencies like Monero and Zcash. That would be problematic. Obviously, that would really hurt the fiat on-ramps for any of these cryptocurrencies. Likely there would also, though, this is where it gets really interesting, a ban on privacy payments. So you can't really stop that, though. But we're going to expand on that idea in a moment. But the idea of giving cash from one person to another person, that's essentially a private transaction. They're trying to stop the digital equivalent of that kind of a private transaction. And they're just not going to be able to stop it. Now, stopping it at a level where you can't put up a sign in your shop that says, we accept privacy-focused cryptocurrencies here, and institutions won't be able to do it, and the government won't do it, and all these different things. But fulfilling that rule of cash from person to person, they can't stop that, just like they couldn't stop cash from moving from one person to another person. But the situation becomes even more tricky when we start talking about, like, Ethereum, for example. Remember, Ethereum's implementing ZK snarks. Or what about when Litecoin or Tron adopt privacy technology? What will the implications be for those cryptocurrencies? That's a really serious question, because if they come out and say any cryptocurrency that implements privacy technology will be banned, oh, that's so problematic, because most cryptocurrencies at this point are looking at some kind of implementation of privacy technology. If they had a strong regulatory move against that, well, we might see some of the more big and professional cryptocurrencies moving away from privacy technology potentially in order to be regulatorily compliant. But I don't think that'll be the case. It's not going to also stop anyone from going out and buying Bitcoin. And this is where the whole thing comes apart for regulators. And they don't really they just don't get it. They just don't get it. Because if you can buy any cryptocurrencies, then you can access privacy cryptocurrencies in one way or another. Because if you're a French citizen and you're living in France and the French government says, okay, no privacy coins for anyone in France, but you can still go buy Bitcoin, and then with your Bitcoin, you can go and use something like the Waves DEX and easily get Monero or Zcash, or you can use PIVX's upcoming ZDEX to do a private swap. No one even knows the swap happened. It's amazing. The government might make it slightly harder, though, to get these privacy cryptocurrencies. It's not going to be as easy with a fiat on-ramp where you can buy Monero or PIVX or something like that for cash, but there's not a lot of those on-ramps right now anyway. Most exchanges that do offer Monero and other things already have it so that you have to use Bitcoin to get those. So is this actually going to make it a lot harder for regular people to get these privacy coins? Probably not. Will it make it harder for them to do payments at local shops or to buy things? Maybe. Maybe. But it's really worth underlining, I guess, that this is just an idea right now. It is far from being a law. And don't take this by any means as France being an anti-cryptocurrency country. France is far from being anti-crypto. There have been some very forward-thinking regulatory proposals made, and some were passed into law. And even this report, with its small mention of privacy coins at the start of the report, actually took an overall positive view of cryptocurrencies. And a big takeaway here is that they are pushing for an international regulatory framework on cryptocurrencies. Now, if that international regulatory framework on cryptocurrencies says that everybody in this international framework, EU-wide, USA, Canada, let's say all the OECD countries, for example, ooh, that would be big. That would be big if all the OECD countries came out and said, hey, we're all going to put a ban on privacy tech cryptos because of terrorism and money laundering and all that fun stuff. It would be problematic. It would be problematic. What's the old saying? When Monero is outlawed, only outlaws will have Monero. Something like that. I'm pretty sure it was the saying anyway. But they're not going to stop it. Privacy tech-enabled cryptocurrencies are like Pandora's box. Once you unleash them, they cannot be stopped. This is literally the point of decentralized cryptocurrencies. And privacy technology takes it a step farther in that you're actually hiding transaction from the prying eyes of government. So the government can neither see what you're doing, nor can they stop what you're doing. They can say, you're not allowed to do that. But banning things has rarely worked. Look at Bitcoin in China. China tried cracking down on Bitcoin, and yet the Bitcoin scene remains totally thriving after the crackdown in China. What about weed? Did banning cannabis make people stop smoking cannabis? No, it didn't. I would be much happier to see some kind of actual positive regulatory steps towards privacy-enabled cryptocurrencies versus a total crackdown and ban on them, because that just doesn't make sense. It's counterfactual. They're not going to be able to stop people from using Monero or PIVX or Zcash or any other privacy-enabled cryptocurrency. To have some kind of laws that say, hey, we understand this technology, we encourage whatever. I'm not going to put out policy proposals for the French government here, but banning just isn't going to work. It's just not. You can't stop them. They're decentralized, they're peer-to-peer. The only thing that the French government might be able to do is say, okay, well, businesses can't accept privacy cryptocurrencies, and they could potentially enforce that. Exchanges can't sell it to French citizens via fiat on-ramps, but there's so many decentralized exchanges, there's so many ways to peer-to-peer exchange. They won't stop them, but it could hurt the value of some of these privacy-enabled cryptocurrencies, potentially, as there won't be as much liquidity within the market, for example. But at the same time, it might simply increase the demand of those privacy-enabled cryptocurrencies. Just imagine in the same way that, you know, weed became extra cool when it got banned. It'd be like, hey man, you got some Monero? Oh yeah, dude, I got some good Monero over here for you. It could be the same thing. By banning them, they'll make them even more powerful. Because people will go, ooh, those are banned. Why are they banned? Oh, they're really powerful. Wow, let's check this out. I think fundamentally, though, the ability to transact privately, much like having the ability to speak privately, harder and harder on the internet every day, or the ability to think privately. They haven't gotten here yet. This is a human right. Privacy coins are focused on enabling freedom. And sometimes freedom is a messy thing. Sometimes people do bad things with their freedom. But the overwhelming majority of people, when given the option of having freedom, do good things with their freedom. Privacy coins fill the digital role of cash being handed from one person to another person in a private room where nobody knows it happened. And that's powerful. Privacy coins aren't going anywhere, even if this proposal by the French Minister of Budget and Labor actually becomes a reality. It just makes it more difficult, but it doesn't stop privacy coins. They can't stop them. Anyway, just my 2 satoshis on this proposed French ban on privacy coins. You guys let me know what you think about this topic down below in the comment section. Thank you so much, as always, for watching today's video. You guys seriously rock, so thank you so much. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up on it. You can always subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.